Blessed are we needing help waking up to the music, the color, and the movement of living. Blessed are we beginning to unclasp from the crippling fear we've grown accustomed to. Blessed are we who reach, however tentatively, for the Father's hand. Kate Bowler, from her poem, Blessing for Waking Up to Life Again. Please be seated. Last week, I had one of the most difficult conversations with a family member that I have had in years, and I have lived a few years. It was so difficult that my heart physically hurt. I felt that I had been punched in the gut, and at times I could not breathe well. I went home after this conversation feeling wrung out and beat up. I wanted to crawl in bed and not talk to anyone. The conversation was about family of origin issues. Putting those hurts of childhood and early adulthood behind is often more than tricky. For like it or not, we carry that baggage of our young life, our mistakes and hurts with us through the journey of life. I was thinking of that conversation as I reread this gospel several times while preparing for today. That conversation reminded me of this parable. That conversation ended abruptly. It left me gobsmacked, just like the elder son felt upon learning the news. It left me resentful and alone, just like the elder son felt about his brother's party. Most of us are familiar enough with today's gospel reading, as it is one of a series of parables that you have heard in the last weeks about reconciliation with our fellow humans and with God. However, this parable leaves us, some of us at least, a bit frustrated in that we'd really like to know how the elder son responded to the father. But the parable ends rather abruptly. We are familiar with the conversations that end abruptly, are we not? That feeling in your gut and in your heart that, this isn't right. Yet it takes courage to say, hey, how do we mend this? More often, we go to our respective corners to lick our wounds. In this parable, we are left suspended, wondering, what is that elder son going to do? We don't know, because the very next words are chapter 16, and new issues are brought up. But wait a minute, I want to know what happens to the elder son. I don't want to have to make a judgment about him. It is true that the younger son has let go of all of his pride and false belief about who he is and what he can accomplish all by himself. But I feel it is wrong to shame the elder brother. I do not want to say that the elder son is bad, because he too is showing his humanity, but just at a different time in his life. who are any of us to call the elder son other and place him outside of the circle? He's struggling just like us. As a matter of fact, he is us, and we are him. This struggling to come to the feast is a part of being human. And being human means that we fall, we fail, and then we get all prideful and tell ourselves, we don't need anybody, and we are just fine. Thank you very much. Before you know it, we get lost in the mire. The muck gets too deep, and we can't lift our feet to come out. The elder son is in that muck. He is so stuck, he can't climb his way out. Whose job is it to get him out? Well, we might think that it's his. He needs to get himself out. He needs to pull himself up by his bootstraps and get on out of that muck. But seriously, who really does all that growing and changing and letting go of old fears and resentments all alone? Nah, we get help. The Father is bringing help. He's bringing his love. He's expressed kindness, love, and respect, and invited the elder to the feast. This poor father, all he's wanted since his young son left was to complete the circle of love. And just when he feels it's happened, bam, another part of the circle has crumbled, and it needs to be mended. This is such an awesome father. He doesn't chide his elder son. He does not call his elder son any negative names, and he does not judge him. He states out loud that he has room in his heart to love them both. He holds out his hand. That elder son really is us, and we really are him. Indeed, it is his choice to take the hand, receive the love, and go to the feast, just as it is our choice to do so. But I'd like to recognize that each human's journey to that feast is unique, and not every human gets to the feast at the same time. Is the elder son late, or is he just needing more time? Whatever time he gets there, the Father will still offer his hand, and the feast will still be there. I send you off today with a tidbit of verse by Jack Gilbert from his poem, A Brief for the Defense. Don't let the sorrow, injustice, and the wrong done, the sin of our brothers and of our own hearts, keep us from risking delight. The music is playing, the fatted calf is ready. Will you risk delight? Will you keep the feast? Amen.